Alright, welcome back to Let's Play Code Lyoko Quest for Infinity.
There you are, finally.
Now, here's the other characters. Auric, who is, well, one of the more serious characters. He's, not much to really explain about him. He's just the typical kind of hero-like character. Yumi's about the same, except just the female version.
Finished or not? Yeah, a couple of days ago. Cool.
And both of them are dating a couple times. It kind of goes on and off with them. Yumi originally went out with William for a while, until he got possessed. And then Aelita is basically in a way the main character of the series, because she was originally trapped in Lyoko and she didn't have a human form. So they spent the whole first season trying to get her out, and then by the end they managed to get her out, but something awkward happened, and now they can't turn off Lyoko because she's connected to Lyoko, so if they turn it off, she dies, pretty much. And so that's what the whole point of the series is for quite a while, trying to find a way to break that bond. Only problem is, once they finally broke it, X.A.N.A also became separated, so now if they turn it off, X.A.N.A will still live. So now they have to go and destroy him alone, until everything will be saved. Yeah, and just like in the last episode, how I mentioned that Sissy's outfit was off, it's also the same for Yumi and Aelita, I noticed. Their costumes in the voice cutscene, in just the standard talking cutscenes, is, well, they're old costumes when they have costumes that they got later on, which you saw in that cutscene right there, them being virtualized. And then also in that little image there of Jeremy, as well as in the cutscene, Jeremy had different clothing. In the talking cutscenes, he has a red sweater, and there he has blue, which he had blue before. Okay, now, here is the actual first level of the game. Not much of it's not really a training mission like the other, it's more of a serious mission. You get all 4 of the characters in this one. First one, and as you try out, is Auric, which is the only physical character in the game. He uses swords. Then as you level him up, he eventually gets a second sword. Although he does have the second sword, he just can't use it. Then like, those little icons, Auric is the only one you can't activate him, obviously, because he's physical. Auric is one of my favorite characters to use just because, well, I'm obsessed with swords. That would kind of explain why Sonic and the Black Knight is one of my favorite Sonic games. Okay, now this is a situation where Yumi would come in handy, where basically there's a whole bunch of enemies, but they're really weak ones that can be taken down in like 1 or 2 hits. If it's a bunch of enemies that are more powerful, they would take longer to take out, like it would take 3 or 4 hits. It's best to use Aelita because her ranged attacks are chargeable. But she's not that good this early in the game. It's better to use her later after you upgrade her, because she becomes one of the most powerful characters. Yeah, and again, I forgot to mention the controls a little bit. Yeah, the A button is the jump button. B is to typically use the attack. It's to either fire or charge. And then for Auric, he uses a waggle feature like most games that have you use a sword on the Wii. So that's pretty standard. Not really any skill to use him. Well, actually, yeah, it takes skill to use Auric because he's a little tougher to use because he's physical. But in terms of actually how you swing, it really doesn't matter. It always does the same combo. But you'll level up the combo, get more attacks, and that's also what gets him his second saber. Like I mentioned with Aelita, this is the kind of situation where it should be good if you have multiple enemies that are much stronger, because her charge attack can easily take out strong enemies in just a couple blows. But this early in the game, she's not very good, because she can power up her attack power, as well as being able to charge up her blast even more. Oh yeah. Earlier, there was like a card, like an orange card. Jeremy mentioned it was goodies. Those are basically like the extras of the game. If you get them, you can go into Jeremy's room, which has the computer, and you can examine the special stuff. Okay, these platforms fall when you step on them. Nothing much there. Typical platforming. Then I think this... I'm not completely sure, but I think this part is timed, so you have to hit the 2 targets within a certain amount of time. But really, it just gives you a lot of time, so it really doesn't matter.
I need more data to clear this obstacle.
Okay, yeah, these look like normal falling platforms, but if you just step on the first one, all of them disappear really quickly. So you really can't go over them. You need a power-up for it. Which is probably one of my least favorite because the obstacles are generally... It's probably one of the hardest powers to use. Or at least it's the hardest obstacles to get past. Okay, this is one of the standard things that would happen in the show. They would come to Sector 5, and then she would get on the kind of computer panel to download certain kind of info. Really, she does it quite a few times, so really it's nothing exclusive. Okay, basically they need to go out to the digital sea, but problem is, if any of them touch the digital sea, they become permanently devirtualized. So then Jeremy decided to make basically a boat, in a way, or a ship that could go through to the virtual sea, and
That sounds good. What do you think?
so right now they're just deciding what to call it, calling it the Skid.
I'm sending you to the skid. We'll
It's-
finally be able to try it out.
It's basically another kind of mission in the game. I really do not like skid levels. Because I just find them kind of bland.
Energy.
One thing I don't get, why are there 5 panels there? I mean, unless they... I was thinking that maybe, like, later on in the series, that maybe William would become normal again, and then he would actually become, like, a permanent member of the team, so then they would always have all 5 of them go in. Because it's just awkward having that 5th slot there. And if they wanted to clear it up, they could have had it maybe, like... leave the middle one empty, because then it would have made a little more sense. But the fact that it has the random one on the side with nobody on it just feels awkward. Yeah, as some of you might guess, the virtual sea is, well, a C in the computer.
Aelita, release the nav skids.
And also, like I mentioned, that there was 5 slots. There's also the big ship, and then there's 4 miniature ships on it, which it's like, what the heck?
It's not rocket science. You'll see.
Okay, your character in these levels really don't matter. It doesn't make any difference. All the characters are the same thing here, except you don't use Aelita in here because she controls the big one. Alright, this is as simple as just like a standard lock on and shoot thing that's used in a lot of games. You can't actually control the ship normally. It's wherever you're pointing on the screen, that kind of shows where the ship's gonna go. Then you hold down the B button, and it'll lock on to target. Sometimes you can lock on to one ship multiple times. And then I just mash the B button at the enemy. Don't really hold it and go at a pace. Just fire like heck, and you'll kill them all easy. Then, a couple times in the game, you'll actually have a boss fight down here with William, where he'll be controlling a much stronger ship that takes a ton of hits to kill. He keeps doing a loop around the level, and he'll typically do about 5 loops or so before you can kill him, if it's like your first try and you're not used to it yet.
Recovery.
One thing that does get a little annoying in this game is the overuse of certain cutscenes, like that one where it shows the recovery. It does that in every freaking mission that you go into the virtual sea. It gets old, especially ones like with Aelita going into a tower or them getting virtualized. It happens just way too often.